we're constantly bombarded with this idea, that we need to be the best.
Yeah.
Like the most successful, the most productive, like the most everything.
Yeah.
But what if true excellence
Right.
looks totally different than that?
Totally.
What if it's less about, reaching these external markers of achievement,
right,
and more about something way deeper?
Absolutely.
Something more aligned with a bigger purpose.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah.
And that's actually what we're diving into today.
Okay.
With this text on spiritual excellence.
Okay.
I got to say, this thing really flipped the script for me.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Like this whole idea that the text kind of throws out our usual scorecards, right?
Totally.
And proposes this radical idea that how close we are to God's will is the ultimate measure of our spiritual progress.
So right off the bat, that raises a million questions for me.
I know, right?
How are we even supposed to know what God's will even is?
Exactly.
For us.
Yeah.
Especially today.
I know.
In the world today where it's
it's impossible.
We're just constantly hit with all this information.
Yeah, it's true.
And all these opinions. It's we're just trying to find a signal in all this noise.
And the text acknowledges that, which I think is so...
Really?
Yeah, it doesn't give us
oh, thank goodness.
A magic formula or easy answers.
Right.
Instead, it really emphasizes this ongoing practice of discernment.
Okay.
Learning how to tell the difference between what's genuine inspiration versus our own desires or what we think we should be doing.
Oh, that's so interesting.
It's about cultivating that inner clarity in the middle of all the chaos.
Yeah, amidst the chaos.
Which, let's be honest, we could all use a little more of.
100%.
Right.
And speaking of things we could all use more of.
Okay.
I like how the text calls out some of the pitfalls, too.
Yeah.
In this journey.
For sure.
There's this whole part on quietism. And when I first read it, I was like, what? I don't get it.
It's a little confusing.
Yeah, it threw me for a loop.
It did, yeah.
But it basically challenges that whole idea. That spiritual excellence equals rejecting everything worldly.
It's this misconception, right? That we all have to become monks and live in seclusion.
Yeah.
It's more about recognizing that holiness isn't about escaping from our everyday lives. But about how we show up within them.
Yeah, that makes way more sense. So it's less about, where we are.
Totally.
And more about how we're approaching everything, our work.
Right.
Our relationships, all the even mundane, boring stuff we have to do. It's about finding a deeper meaning and connection.
Yeah.
In the middle of all the ordinary stuff.
I love that. Yeah.
Right.
Totally.
Finding the sacred in the everyday.
And you know where it gets really interesting?
Okay, tell me more.
Is that it also suggests that God might call us to do certain things that go beyond normal routines, things that might even disrupt our comfortable status quo.
Okay, so now we're talking.
Right.
Because how do we even know the difference between a real calling, a real nudge from something way bigger than us, and just our own ambition or our ego wanting to shake things up?
Totally.
Which feels very relevant to today.
Totally.
We're constantly told to chase the next big thing.
It's this tension that's been around forever, right?
Totally.
This dance between listening to what we want and what might be leading us to somewhere we never expected. What the text suggests is that true inspiration will resonate with a feeling of rightness, with this sense of purpose that's bigger than what we just personally want.
Wow.
And it encourages this really deep, introspective way of making decisions. We have to slow down.
Yeah.
And really tune in to that inner wisdom.
Right. It makes you wonder if
totally
we've gotten so caught up in the doing that we've totally lost touch with the being.
Yeah, that quiet space inside where you can actually hear that wisdom.
Right.
It's a practice like anything else. It takes discipline, patience, a willingness to keep showing up.
Right.
And the text talks about how one of the most powerful ways to cultivate that inner listening is to be present.
Right.
To like be here now.
All right.
Instead of
getting lost in the past or the future.
In our heads, yeah.
Which easier said than done.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But I can see how when we actually slow down and really be present in our lives, that like those little nudges, those whispers of intuition
become more.
You're tuning the radio dial to the right frequency.
Yeah, exactly.
And as we become more present, we also become more aware of what feels life-giving. What sparks joy. What aligns with that deeper purpose.
Right.
We were talking about before.
So it's like our internal
guidance system gets more refined.
Totally. Right.
Absolutely. We can actually like tell the difference.
It's easier to discern what's fleeting and what's like a deep calling.
Yeah, and that discernment is really what this text calls like the heart of spiritual excellence.
Right.
It's not like...
And it's not about...
reaching some fixed state of perfection.
No.
It's like you said, it's the
process.
Journey.
The becoming.
Yeah. Which honestly takes the pressure off.
Right.
Like we don't have to...
You don't have to have it all figured out.
All the answers. Yeah. It's not about like checking boxes.
Exactly.
It's more about just like learning and growing and evolving.
It's a lot more organic.
Yeah.
It's compassionate.
Totally. Because it allows for like...
It allows for the mess.
The mess ups.
The setbacks.
The setbacks.
The changing your mind.
The changing your mind.
Yeah.
And just trusting that the path, even with
the craziness.
The ups and downs.
It's all leading you where you need to go.
Exactly.
And this is where it's like so relevant for today, right? Because we're always told, do more, be more, achieve more.
Hustle.
But this text is like, hold on a second.
Right.
What if there's a different way,
a
different pace?
So it's less about...
It's not about achieving excellence. It's about embodying it.
Say more about that.
So it's less about checking things off a to-do list and more about how we do everything, how we move through the world, how we interact with ourselves, with others. It's like this holistic thing. And when we get that, our focus changes.
How so?
It's not about what other people think.
Right. It's more about...
It's about the inner transformation. The inner fulfillment.
Which I imagine is...
It's freeing, right?
Yeah, like so freeing.
When we don't need to prove anything.
Yeah, when we don't have to.
We just be ourselves.
Yeah, we can just be ourselves.
Embrace what makes us unique.
Yeah, our own gifts. And passions and quirks and all that.
Without the pressure, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like we can finally give ourselves permission.
Totally.
To like...
Just be human.
Be human.
Yeah.
And like embrace all the imperfections and realize...
Like those imperfections, they're not something to hide. You know? Right. They're what make us who we are.
Yeah, they're part of like the unique.
That's what makes you interesting, right?
Totally. And the beautiful thing is, it's like in those messy, imperfect parts of ourselves.
It's where the good stuff is.
Yeah.
That's where you grow.
That's where we actually discover our strengths.
Totally.
And our capacity to like...
Your ability to grow.
Yeah.
To grow.
Comes from the mess.
And this text kind of says...
It's not about being perfect.
Yeah. It's through those stumbles.
Balls, yeah.
It's the getting back up.
Yeah, that we cultivate.
That's where the good stuff is. Like humility, compassion, resilience. You know, it's not about...
It's not about
being perfect.
Right,
it's about embracing it all.
Yeah, like that reminds me of that quote.
What's that?
By Teddy Roosevelt.
Okay, yeah.
About the man in the arena.
Oh, yeah, I love that one.
You know?
What'd he say? Remind me.
The one who's like actually in there.
Yes.
Taking risks, making mistakes.
Yeah, getting beat up.
Getting back up again.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, that's
what it's about.
Yeah, that's where the real...
It's not about avoiding the arena.
Right. And this text reminds us...
It's about being in it.
That we don't have to.
You don't have to do it alone.
Do it alone.
No. There's something bigger.
Yeah, a bigger force.
Totally.
A divine presence.
With us all the way.
That's
every step. You got this.
With us, giving us guidance.
Totally.
Support, love.
Even when you don't feel it.
Even when we can't see it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like having this...
It's there.
Invisible safety net.
Yes.
You know?
Good.
So we can like...
You can take risks.
Take those leaps of faith.
Jump.
Yeah.
You're good.
Trust our gut.
Totally.
And step into like the unknown.
The mystery.
Knowing that, like, we're held.
Exactly.
And that brings us back to, like...
It always comes back to that.
The heart of this text.
Yeah, what is it really saying?
It's not about being perfect.
It's not about checking boxes. It's about who you are.
Yeah. It's about, like...
Deep down.
Cultivating that alignment.
In here. Your purpose.
Our unique purpose.
That's it.
Like showing up.
Just show up. Every day.
Yeah.
As you are.
As we are.
Messy and beautiful.
And trusting.
Just trust you're right where you need to be.
We're exactly where we're supposed to be.
In this moment.
Wow. This text has given us...
a lot to think about.
A lot to think about.
Right.
So to everyone listening...
Yeah.
How can you bring this, like...
this new perspective.
This new perspective on excellence.
Into your life.
Into your life.
Yeah.
What would change?
What would shift?
If you worried less about...
what other people think.
Yeah, what other people think.
All that.
All the outward appearances.
And to just focus on that inner alignment.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's a good question.
It's the question, right?
Yeah. And hopefully one that will keep us all thinking.
Keep the conversation going.
Long after this deep dive.